my brother battled addiction from his mid-teens up until, his 33 years of life. And
Oh.
he was like a very big part of my life. I did a lot for that kid, and I will always love him to death. And I knew he was struggling, and
Mhm.
I started struggling because I felt alone in helping him become better, become sober. And it became my sister and I's responsibility in a way. My mother couldn't handle it because she was still dealing with her own addictions.
Mhm.
My father was absent. So my brother became kind of like a child to me and my sister. More so my sister because she's 6 years older than him, where I'm two. So I did kind of give him a little more tough love. But he didn't stop using, and he was very reckless.
Mm.
And he came to see me in Los Angeles, February of 21, no, 2020. And I knew he was in deep shit. Excuse my
Mm.
language. I was like, this kid's not well. And,
Mhm.
he's gone in and out of rehabs. I sent him to the Coast Guard when he was 16, 17. I mean, I know I did everything I could for him.
Yeah.
I tried to be a good role model. My sister did it in a different way where she kind of allowed him. She gave him money. I didn't do that because I was like,
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
have money to give you.
That's
Uh,
enabling.
and Enabling, yeah.
Yeah.
And in a way, like I did too, because I just, I enabled in different ways. But he kind of pushed me away because I was kind of the nagging mother. I
Yeah.
was like, what are you doing? Who are you hanging out with? Blah, blah, blah. You gotta blah, blah, blah. And my sister was more like, you have to do this, but here's money.
Yeah.
So her and I were kind of good cop, bad cop. And I think all the while, he didn't get that support. He didn't get that love from no teachers, no guidance counselors. He was
Oh.
getting into trouble pretty early. He got himself out of the Coast Guard. Once he got in, he only served a year, and then somehow he got released because he hated it, and he just fell into more trouble
Mhm.
around drugs. But he went in and out of rehab, and about I would say 4 years ago, before he really came to LA and I saw how bad he was. He came out of rehab, one of the stints, and I was so proud of him because he looked good. He had gained weight, and me and my sister were really supportive. We tried our best to be supportive, and it was my sister's daughter's, my niece. It was her baptism, and both my parents were going to be there, which was odd. Like, again, we kept that door open for my father, but it was confusing. But we
Yeah.
did leave it open, so
Yeah.
when he wanted to, he would come in.
Yeah.
And my parents have no awareness to anything, and my brother had just gotten out of rehab, and I remember they were sitting at a table, and my brother was wedged right in between them, fresh out of rehab, and my mother and my father both are having a beer. They're drinking, and I'm looking at my sister, and I'm like, I was pissed. I was
Yeah.
annoyed. Here we are being the parents to the parents, but
Yeah.
also like trying to protect my little brother. Like, this
Mhm.
was the whole, scene growing up, always trying to protect him. And I can tell he was very much uncomfortable. And this is one of the proudest moments of my life. I went to the bathroom, so I was up, and I got back to the table, and he was gone. I'm like, where did he go? My focus was always on him. I was always just concerned about him. And I'm like, where did he go? And he was outside, and he texted me. He was like, can you come outside?
Mm.
Yeah. So I go outside, and he's like, one thing they teach you in rehab is that you can't control the environment that you're in, but you can control yourself. He's like, I'm not comfortable. He's like, and they tell you, you can control yourself, and find somebody you trust and let them know what you're doing. He's like, so you're my person I trust right now, and
Oh.
I don't want to be here. And I was like, I'm proud of you. Let's go.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
we left. I told my sister, she wasn't, but I was pissed at my parents who had no awareness. I had to reprimand them.
Yeah.
And, I left with my brother. But it was a very proud moment where I was like, I'm proud of you for sticking to your guns and
Yep.
for advocating for yourself.
Yes.
And fast forward a couple years later, he came to LA, and I thought, okay, if he's getting on a plane, he's not using. But it became pretty apparent to me when he was in LA. I was like, he was into opioids and
Mm.
heroin,
God.
which is completely dangerous.
Yeah.
And but
Very
it
dangerous.
became apparent to me when he came to LA. I was like, it's alcohol. It's the alcohol that is like the number one, like, thing, that substance that gets him to that point to use. And I was like, he needs total rehab again. And I felt like a kid screaming, trying to shake everyone. I called my sister crying out because I had to, it was a mess. He came here, he was completely unhinged. He drank, and I was like, this is not my brother anymore. And I recognized that. I'm like, he's in trouble. He's going to kill himself. And I called my sister hysterical. I was like, we need to do something. At this point, she had her daughter. She was like, it's not my problem anymore, Amanda. Like, he's just, and I understood because she
Yeah.
did so much for him,
Yeah.
especially financially. So she had a child now, so she really didn't have the capacity to help him, a
Yeah.
grown ass man. Um, so I was like, oh man. So then I told my mom. I told her point blank. I'm like, you're gonna lose your son if you don't do something about this. We need to do something about this. I told my father, your son's in trouble. Your son is going to kill him. No one heard me. No one heard me. No one took it seriously. I had to do something, and I'm only one person. And I kept my brother in my life. I tried to prioritize him. I tried to reprimand him. I tried to be that nagging mother he never had. Nothing ever worked. But with the philosophy school, with these modes to enlightenment like meditation and my
Mm-hmm.
psychedelic work, I realized the only way I can potentially save my brother is through love, right? And I tried that, and the last straw, which I did not want to do, which it kind of was it though. I was like, this is the only way. I was like, I love you. I love you to death. You know that. It's not about, not loving you. I'm doing this because I love you, but I have to cut you out.
Yeah.
I
Tough
have to
love.
cut you out of my life because I want you here. And if you want to have me in your life, this is what I need you to do within the next 8 weeks. I need you to contact a therapist. I gave him a list. I said, I need you to start working out regularly. I will help you. And I will also guide you with any other, mode that will help you. But you need to contact a therapist in the next 8 weeks, and we need to get you on some kind of program and protocol for your physical
Mm-hmm.
well-being and nutrition.
Yeah.
He said, all right, I got you. I was like, I don't want to cut you out. Don't make me do
Yeah.
this. And, 8 weeks goes by, and I noticed the phone calls, the text messages stopped, and I was like, he's falling off again. And I said, I hate to do this, Paul, but I have to see my way out of your life right now. And it's not because I don't love you. I'm doing it because I do love you. And he was upset. He was
Mm-hmm.
really upset.
Mm-hmm.
This was in late 2020, moving into 2021, and I started warming up to him a little bit, but still not at the same capacity for the holidays that year in late 2020. Because obviously we were going to see each other for the holidays, but it wasn't that relationship where we were calling each other because I made myself that boundary. I
Yeah.
said,
Smart.
you know, and Thanksgiving came around that year, and I hosted it at the apartment I was in New York. And it was the last time I saw my brother, and he was not well. And he was so incapacitated, he couldn't even be present. And I was like, my brother's in trouble again. An opportunity for us to come together, have another intervention, because we did. Me and my sister, we put on interventions for him in the past, and they work short term, but then, after rehab, addicts go back if they're not in, a more supportive state and environment. Um, so yeah, it was the last time I saw him alive. And
Mm.
Christmas came around a few weeks later, and we had this really bad snowstorm coming in New York on the East Coast. And oddly, it was an odd phone call I got around 11:15 p.m. at night, and he sounded just erratic. He just sounded manic, and I knew again, like, his mental health was deteriorating. Something like it, the drugs do change your
Yeah.
mind
Yep.
after some time. Like,
Changes the
so me and
chemistry.
my sister, yep,
Mm-hmm.
yep. And so I didn't know if he was coming from a place of manic likeness, mania. And but he said, somebody, I'm driving back on the BQE. Somebody just shot me. Somebody's shooting at me. I'm like, well, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I just wanted to tell you, like, I love you. And it was really scary. I'm like, okay. I'm like, please be safe. I'm like, are you safe? Did you get like plates? Nothing. He didn't get plates. And the last thing he said was like, we talked because at that point I was moving to Los Angeles, but I hadn't found a place. Actually, I had signed the lease that day. I signed the lease to come out here for the apartment that day. And he said to me, I'm happy you're getting out of New York. I'm excited for you. Let's have lunch before you go. And I said, absolutely, I'm open to that. And he was like, I love you. And I was like, I love you too. And he died that night. He
Oh
overdosed.
God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Mm.
Oh God, that's tough.
Yeah. Yeah, I was one of the last people to talk to him.
God.
But it wasn't, it was actually uh, that Sunday when, we couldn't get a hold of him. And, the search started, and it wasn't unusual for him to not respond and him to go MIA because that was his like MO. And we had some people stop over there, and they found him. But the most horrible, difficult thing about the whole process was having to break the news to my sister and my mother.